I was wrist-deep in garden dirt, planting heirloom lilies my Uncle Theo gave me for my birthday, when he passed away. My phone buzzed 3 times before I peeled off my gloves to answer. A clipped voice said, "Ms. Langley?" I didn't recognize it. "This is Victor Crane, your Uncle Theo's attorney. I have unfortunate news." My chest tightened. The lilies, Theo's last gift, felt heavy in my hands. What happened? "Your uncle passed last night in his sleep." He paused. "He left specific instructions to contact you first, before anyone else in the family." The words barely sank in as I sank to the ground. Uncle Theo, who taught me to sketch, slipped me oatmeal cookies at tense family dinners and urged me to chase my ambitions, was gone. "Ms. Langley, are you there?" "Yes," I said faintly. "I'm here. What do you need me to do?" "Your uncle left detailed instructions for his funeral and a letter to be opened before the service. Can you come to my office today?" I glanced at the lilies, Theo's favorite, the moonlight variety. 2 weeks earlier, his eyes glinting with his usual sly humor, he'd handed them to me. "These have been in our family for generations," he'd said. Like truths. I thought it was just his cryptic wit. Now I wasn't sure. "I'll be there in an hour," I told the lawyer. Victor Crane's office, with its polished oak, leather tomes, and a view of Charleston's harbor, screamed old money, likely worth more than my yearly salary as a graphic designer. He rose as I entered, offering a somber smile. "Ms. Langley, thank you for coming so quickly. Please sit." I perched on a plush leather chair, trying not to shift nervously. "Mr. Crane, why did Uncle Theo want you to call me first?" He pulled 2 envelopes from his desk. One, thick and official, bore his firm's letterhead. The other, smaller, ivory, had my name in Theo's precise script. "Your uncle was a singular man," Crane said carefully. "Sharp in business, but particular about how things should be handled. He left explicit instructions for his will and funeral." "That sounds like him," I said softly. Crane slid the ivory envelope toward me. "He wanted you to read this. Privately, then we'll discuss the rest." My hands trembled as I took it, catching a faint whiff of Theo's cologne, sandalwood and citrus. I opened it carefully, pulling out a single sheet of his personal stationery. "My dear Sophie," it began, "I'm out of time. If you're reading this, don't grieve too long. I've lived more fully than most could dream. But my brave niece, I need one last favor. In my study's desk, in the hidden drawer I showed you how to open when you were 11, the lily carving trick, there's a letter to be read at my funeral. It will reshape our family forever. Some might call it vengeance. I call it justice, long overdue. I've left everything to you. My estate, Cresthaven Solutions, all of it. One condition. You must read that letter at my funeral, with the whole family present. No exceptions. It's a heavy ask, I know. But Sophie, you've always had the courage and heart. It has to be you. All my love, Theo. P.S. No gray at my funeral. You know my stance on gray." I reread it, stunned, then looked at Crane. "He left everything to me?" He opened the official envelope and nodded. Cresthaven Solutions, his personal estate, investment holdings, roughly $62 million. But as he noted, it's contingent on you fulfilling his request. My mind spun. Theo had always been generous, but this was beyond imagination. "What about my mother, my cousins?" "Small bequests," Crane said, "but the majority is yours, provided you meet his terms." I thought of my mother, resentful, of her older brother's success. My cousins who'd courted Theo for years, eyeing his wealth, and all those family gatherings where Theo sat quietly, watching with his piercing gaze, as if waiting. "When's the funeral?" "Your uncle was meticulous. It's in 3 days at Holy Trinity Church with a reception at his estate. The entire family is expected. I clutched Theo's letter and stood. Then I need to find a desk. At the door, Crane called, "Ms. Langley, one more thing." Your uncle said, "You'll know how to handle the truth." The 45-minute drive to Theo's estate felt endless, my head swirling with questions. What was in that second letter? What secret was so vital Theo would stake everything on it? As I neared, the gates opened automatically. Theo had given me the code years ago, saying he trusted me more than his alarms. The house, a grand Georgian surrounded by pristine lawns and his beloved lilies, was just as I remembered. The housekeeper, Mrs. Carver, met me at the door, eyes red from crying. "Oh, Miss Sophie, I'm so glad you're here. He left word you'd have full access to his rooms." "Thank you, Mrs. Carver. I won't be long." In Theo's study on the second floor, overlooking his lily garden, the room was refined, yet playful, like him. Navy velvet drapes, modern art beside family photos, hints of lilies everywhere. His desk, carved walnut with intricate floral inlays, stood by the window. I traced the edge, finding the lily carving he'd shown me as a child. "Second petal from the right," I murmured, pressing it. A drawer clicked open, revealing a wax-sealed envelope labeled, "To be read at my funeral." It was heavier than expected, as if holding more than paper. For a moment, I considered opening it. But Theo always had a reason for his choices. He wanted. This revealed before his family at his funeral. I tucked it into my bag, giving the room a final look. A new photo on his desk caught my eye. Theo as a young man outside Cresthaven Solutions' first office, grinning with that sly smile that always seemed to see through people. "What did you know, Uncle?" I whispered. What truth was worth a lifetime to unveil? The next 3 days were a blur of funeral plans and family tension. My mother called 8 times, veering between anxiety about the will and irritation at my role in the arrangements. My cousins flooded my phone with texts, each more self-serving than the last. I kept Theo's sealed envelope close, pulling it out at night, wondering what it held. What truth was so critical Theo would risk his legacy to expose? The funeral morning dawned crisp and bright. I dressed carefully in a forest green dress, Theo's favorite color, pinning one of his prized lilies to my collar. The envelope felt weighty in my bag, more than just paper and photos. Holy Trinity Church was packed by the time I arrived. Theo had been a renowned entrepreneur and philanthropist. The Langleys were old wealth. Pews brimmed with local leaders, business colleagues, and family. My mother cornered me as I entered, her face taut. "Sophie, what's going on with the will?" "Crane won't say anything. Says we wait until after." I met her eyes. "We'll find out together, Mom. It's what Theo wanted." She grabbed my arm as I moved past. "If you know something, let go," I said quietly but firmly. "This is Theo's funeral. Show respect." The service was stunning, just as Theo would have wanted. No gray in sight. Lilies in his favorite shades, creamy white and soft yellow, filled the space. The pastor spoke of his vision, generosity, and drive to better the world. Then Crane, from the front pew, gave me a slight nod. I gripped Theo's envelope, hands shaking, and walked to the podium. The church fell silent as I faced the congregation. My mother, in the first row, wore a mask of barely concealed fear. My cousins, Elise and Trevor, leaned forward, eager as scavengers. I took a deep breath, the scent of lilies grounding me, and felt Theo's presence beside me. My Uncle Theo left a letter with instructions to read it here, today, before everyone who knew him, I said, voice steady despite my racing pulse. I broke the wax seal, revealing papers and, as I'd sensed, photographs. My mother gasped, softly as I drew them out. The first showed a young Theo with an unfamiliar woman, both holding blueprints, smiling. The second captured the same woman at a construction site, the early foundations of what I recognized as Cresthaven Solutions' first building. I began reading Theo's letter, my voice clear in the hushed cathedral. My name was Theodore Langley, and this is the truth about how Cresthaven Solutions began. The woman in these photos is Marian Voss, my business partner in 1978, a brilliant chemist. Together we founded Cresthaven to develop eco-friendly energy solutions. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. My mother's face paled. Marian and I met in graduate school, I read. Our vision was to create renewable energy tech to reshape the industry. Her scientific mind and my strategic skills built the foundation for Cresthaven. I held up another photo. Marian and Theo signing what looked like a contract. We were equal partners, splitting profits, patents, everything, until Marian's death on March 22, 1979, in what was called a boating accident. My cousin Elise shifted, whispering to Trevor. I continued. But it wasn't an accident. Marian's boat was tampered with. I learned this too late, after the investigation closed. I also discovered documents, filed hours before her death, transferring her entire stake in Cresthaven to the Langley Family Trust. Documents bearing her signature, which I now know was forged by her business partner, my own sister, Evelyn Langley. Gasps filled the church. My mother stood, face contorted. Stop this, Sophie. This is lies. No, Mom, I said calmly. This is truth. Uncle Theo left evidence. I pulled out papers from the envelope, bank records, hidden police reports, forensic analysis of the forged documents, the original contract between Theo and Marian. Why now? Trevor asked, staring at his aunt, my mother, with growing unease. I returned to Theo's letter. For 40 years, I built Cresthaven into something Marian would have been proud of, funding green tech, supporting innovators, creating opportunities. But I've also watched my sister profit from her crime, teaching her children that wealth and status shield them from accountability. My mother sank back into her pew, deflated. I should have spoken sooner, I read. But by the time I had proof, Cresthaven employed thousands, exposing Evelyn, then would have destroyed the company and countless innocent livelihoods. So I waited, built, ensured Cresthaven could survive the truth. I drew out a faded envelope addressed to Marian Voss's son, Daniel, her only surviving kin. This brings me to my final confession. I've tracked Daniel Voss's life, anonymously funding his education and career in renewable energy. He's grown into the principled scientist his mother was, now leading a top solar tech firm, unaware of his benefactor. A man stood from a middle pew, drawing more gasps. About my age, with Marian's sharp cheekbones, he was Daniel Voss. Theo had even ensured his presence. The second part of my will, I read, voice rising, grants Daniel Voss a 25% stake in Cresthaven Solutions, partial restitution for what was stolen from his mother. My niece Sophie, the only Langley with the integrity and vision Marian and I shared, inherits the controlling share. I looked up at the stunned faces. Signed, Theodore Langley, co-founder and keeper of Cresthaven. Solutions' deepest secret. Silence gripped the church. Daniel Voss walked slowly toward the front, stopping before my mother, who looked decades older. I thought my mother was a dreamer who failed, he said, voice wavering. I never knew. I stepped down. Mr. Voss, I'm so sorry for what was taken from you. His eyes glistened. Thank you for reading that letter. Your uncle, he was watching over me, wasn't he? In his way, I said softly. He was trying to make it right. The truth had walked in unannounced and spoke for itself.